Now here's something that I want your legal mind on. I want your legal commentary on because I just don't understand this. I I can understand it. It's hard for me to accept. I don't get it. So another Biden take. Our current DOJ's perspective is that we do not have a constitutional right to a stable climate. And this comes about as the US is suffering from extreme heat and Biden's DOJ filed its most recent motion to dismiss a landmark climate case brought forth by the children of this great nation who are going to inherit our mess, who assert that the Constitution requires the federal government to maintain a climate that supports human life. Now, the DOJ's reasoning is a bit bizarre to me as an average American, but I assume it makes legal sense. And this is kind of where I want your take. The DOJ is arguing that because the child plaintiffs are not the only people who will be harmed by ecological breakdown, the suit should be thrown out. And I have the Justice Department's quote. Here it is. The state of the climate is a public and generalized issue. And so interests in the climate are unlike the particularized personal liberty and personal privacy interests of individuals the Supreme Court has previously recognized as being protected by fundamental rights. Okay. So that case is Juliana v. United States for anyone that's interested. Lead counsel for the Juliana plaintiffs say that, and I quote, when President Biden ran for office, he promised America's youth that he would take bold action to combat climate change, but instead, the United States is leading the world on producing fossil fuels, the very thing that is furthering climate change. So I don't know if you have comments on that. I can keep going, but
well, I mean, I think
the idea that because you're not the only one harmed, you cannot bring this suit is bugging me.
Well, so this is really funny because one of the topics that I'm not going to cover now, but I will get into is this is actually completely in the inverse of what just happened in Montana, where children brought a suit against the legislature of Montana to say that they're not doing enough to protect the people of Montana from climate change. Essentially, they're saying that they said the legislation that they enacted creates more harm than good. And according to the Montana Constitution, it basically was in the face. It was against that. So it is, we, in terms of the United States Constitution, do not have any kind of particulars with regard to making sure that the planet is of sufficient enough health in order for the rest of us to enjoy it necessarily. At least I don't know. I don't think that it's spelled out in that way. But that doesn't even matter actually in this case, that's what I think is really interesting. It's one thing if they had come out and said that the United States Constitution doesn't guarantee with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness or whatever, it does not actually say that the planet needs to be of a pristine nature to guarantee any of that. That's one thing. What they're saying here is that you cannot speak for the majority of people. That's really what it is. Because
I expected them to say climate's never mentioned once, and
that's
what they're saying is no, you can't speak for everyone, and I just found that to be crazy.
That's
so what we need a class action then? Is that what it is? Like we all need to
that's exactly
join it.
They're saying you're not enough of the population in order to be a general representative body. You cannot represent the children of America because you're not everyone. You need everyone. And it's cool.
It seems like a stall tactic because
legal is fun that way.
Yeah, it's fun to suffer. This is where I get mad at our species for like playing games with this construct that we've created for ourselves.
Yeah,
it's like we're playing around, and we all know what the deal is, and it is like we are exploiting etiquette and whatever this is, like these mannerisms, like we're just like playing a very dangerous game as a species. And I would say to the listeners right now, make no mistake, we should all feel angry and frustrated. If you're not, please tell me why, because I am like hitting my limit with this. We've said it before on the pod, and when we were talking about what we were taught in K through 12 regarding the greenhouse effect and fossil fuels, but somehow the same executive branch that owns the education department doesn't abide by their own academic curricula. And it's such an insane disconnect for me. It's a complete lack of continuity to be taught something for X amount of years when you're a child and young adult, and then come out into the real world, and then you are just it is not followed through with. You would think that you're being primed and prepped to go out into the society that is following through on everything it just taught you, and you are being taught that you're being told that it's a hoax. Like, it's just crazy, and everyone should be outraged. Like, outrage is the only reasonable reaction to have to this. So
I listening to you talk about it though, it will be interesting. And here's the thing. I mean, look, I'm not a legal scholar, people. I actually didn't go to law school. I'm just an amateur who enjoys like reading law sometimes. So I don't know if this is a case, but I wonder if that precedent could then give you enough credence to go against the electoral college, because the fundamental aspect of our government is centered around minority protection. It's centered around people with little voice having just as much say as the majority in order not to have some sort of tyrannical rule. If you're doing this suit here saying that the Constitution does not protect this minority group and guarantee a safe planet, I would wonder, well, why does the Constitution hold to protect the electoral college? Why do minority states then have an outsized right in terms of voting, in terms of their in terms of the electorates, in terms of electing our president? I do wonder where this will actually, because that the law is all about precedents. It's I don't know if one could actually piggyback off the other, but it just is it's just interesting. We always try to have our cake and eat it too. It's on the opposition side. You try to protect the rural states. It's interesting. It's just interesting. It's to say you don't represent enough of the people to matter. I wonder how that could shake out in the end. But anyway, it probably has it'll probably be nothing, because that's the whole point of this country, is to have your cake and eat it too. But I just from that perspective, I thought that maybe it's slightly interesting. I don't know.
all right, well, that's it, folks. Those are our solutions. We don't have any. We're not meeting the moment. We're not answering the call. We're not stepping up to the plate or accepting the challenge. We are failing miserably. And I thought we were supposed to be exceptional.